Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include Blizzard losing 100 employees from customer service, Red Dead Redemption 2 for PC potentially leaking, a roundup of action RPG news, and more. As always, discussion timestamps can be found in the video description. And just before we dive in, make sure you've rang the sub-notification bell to be alerted of new Saturday episodes. In our first bit of news, just a public service announcement that the Steam Winter Sale is currently running, so if there's a game that you've really wanted throughout the year, well, go check to see if it's on sale right now on Steam. These sales have kind of been getting worse over the years, but you never know what you'll find. In other holiday season news, the Overwatch team released this holiday claymation style video that is actually really well done, and it's a cute little holiday video. I encourage you to check it out. Link in the video description. And now on to our first major story about Blizzard not quite downsizing, but effectively losing 100 employees from its European customer service division. As reported by Eurogamer, by the end of 2018, 100 customer service employees will be leaving Blizzard of their own volition. Now, here's the thing. We say it's of their own volition, but as per Eurogamer's sources, Blizzard has been, over the past few months, offering them increasing amounts of money to leave. Think of it sort of as a severance package, except you don't have to take it. They're not laying anyone off, but apparently at least 5 times over the past few months, they've made this offer of, hey, you want to take this money and leave our company? And it eventually got to a point where now these 100 employees, they accepted a year's salary to leave. And allegedly, the customer service employees that are remaining are concerned about the significant extra strain this will put onto them. Now, this just goes to show how serious Activision Blizzard is about cutting costs. And you might wonder, well, how does that make any sense? They just paid someone, 100 people, a year's salary to leave. That's a lot of money. While it is a lot of money, in the long run, it's not. This is a long-term plan. At least that's the only way it makes sense to me. Sure, I'm paying you for an extra year despite you not working for me, but I don't have to pay for your other benefits, your health insurance, and then in the following years, I'm probably not going to be expanding this team again, so that's when the money saving will really kick in. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on this story? Sound off in the comments. On to another story about an alleged leak for Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. We saw this footage appear on a YouTube channel, and while it can be fake, if this is a fake, this is a pretty convincing fake. Someone went through a whole lot of trouble to put together a leak that honestly isn't very surprising. It made sense that Red Dead Redemption 2 would eventually make its way to PC, but it is nice to have this degree of unofficial confirmation. Now, interesting to note is that shortly after the video went up, it vanished. In fact, the entire YouTube channel vanished, with a note saying, "Uploader has closed account." Now, it's important to note here that this is not that the account was shut down. This is something that was done by the volition of the person who owned the channel. One could argue, well, they made a fake leak. They made it seem like their account was deleted in order to give the leak more legitimacy. Another possibility is maybe they got cold feet. Maybe they even got a threatening letter saying that they could be sued, so they wanted to just try to remove all the evidence. It's hard to say exactly, but overall, I still am cautiously optimistic about playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, but some news being reported from Kotaku recently is making me a little bit skeptical, because now Rockstar is selling premium currency for real money. In other words, you can use real money to buy things like cosmetics in-game. And the concern here is that we might be heading towards a GTA Online situation, which is an absolute microtransaction fest. But if you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2, what are your thoughts on this? And if you've played GTA Online, are you also concerned? Sound off in the comments. On to action RPG news, starting with Path of Exile. Now we have some rather disturbing news to share about PoE. There have been a lot of new players that have come to the game in the past, well, few weeks, and it seems that there's a great deal of confusion arising from them in many instances. And it's particularly highlighted through the fact that a patch released this week, a patch that nerfed the Immortal Syndicate, made the Immortal Syndicate easier to deal with, improved a lot of the delve mechanics. And what's really confusing to players new to Path of Exile is that the developers, GGG, are just really listening to the community and providing very quick turnaround on fixes and patches that address player concerns. And people are just not used to this. It's just really emotionally distressing to have game devs that you can't complain about and that make you happy. Alright, that joke's run its course. Patch hit this week in Path of Exile, addressed pretty much everyone's major concerns with Betrayal League, and right in time for the Christmas holidays as well, so you'll get your week or two off of work or school and get to enjoy your Betrayal League without any of the major problems, which honestly weren't that major either, to hamper your enjoyment. Alright, on to news about upcoming action RPG Wolcen. The community manager has released a Q&A video answering 10 of the community's most asked questions. I'll drop a link in the video description, I encourage you to check that out. But a couple highlights include when discussing endgame content, they mentioned a high-risk, high-reward, unique cooperative mode. They didn't say much else about that, but that definitely piqued my interest. And it apparently will be available at some point during beta, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Then when discussing unique items, they mentioned that currently in the game, and this is something that I've experienced myself, there is a bow whose magic property, a unique bow whose magic property is that you fire 2 additional projectiles when you use any attack that fires projectiles, including a basic attack and including any special abilities. I had lots of fun with this power, and they said that they want to introduce more legendaries with powers like these. Effects that aren't applicable to just one skill or ability, but that can affect multiple abilities, and I think this is a great design decision. In Diablo 3, for instance, if you're going to use 7-sided strike, then you're going to get the items that specifically buff 7-sided strike. There isn't really much choice to be had, but having an item that can affect multiple skills allows you to retain choice. On to some Lost Ark news. Lost Ark, that upcoming Korean MMO aRPG that's had a lot of positive buzz lately. People have been wondering, when will it come to the Western world? Well, according to a recent story, Lost Ark publisher Smilegate has signed a publishing contract for Lost Ark with Mail.ru for bringing Lost Ark to Russia. And this is a positive sign for the game potentially coming to Europe and the Americas as well. But some players are highlighting concerns because My.com is an international subsidiary of Mail.ru. And players have highlighted concerns about My.com's handling of MMORPGs in the past. But I turn the question to you. Do you have experience with MyCom? And are you concerned, if so, about how they might treat Lost Ark in the Western world? In other aRPG news, we've seen a teaser trailer for Pagan Online. This is Wargaming's entry into the action RPG market. Wargaming, famous for World of Tanks, World of Warships, World of Warplanes, all of these World of Wars. And from the trailer right away we can see that this game has a visual style reminiscent of a cross between Diablo 3, Torchlight 2, and even League of Legends. It's very stylized, even down to the animations. So it's much more stylized than Diablo 3. Torchlight 2 is very stylized as well, but I also see design aspects that remind me of sort of League of Legends characters. We even have the full-on cartoonish physics. And this isn't a criticism. Not every action RPG has to look like Diablo 2. It's important to me that a Diablo game carry the dark and gritty aesthetic, but this shouldn't be a defining characteristic of the aRPG genre as a whole. And the advantage of very stylized visuals is that they age a lot better than more realistic visuals. And who knows, maybe this will help capture the League of Legends audience as well, bring them into the RPG fold. Overall, from what little we're seeing, this does not look like a next-generation action RPG, but it looks like something that might be able to at least contend with the current generation. Am I expecting it to be groundbreaking? No, but I'll definitely try it, and I'll try to keep an open mind. On to Diablo news. We got official word that Season 16 will begin on January 18th, and the anticipated end date will be March 17th, which is only 2 months later. This would make it the second shortest season ever. That said, we must bear in mind that Season 15's anticipated end date was mid-December, and that ended up getting delayed. So I think really this is March 17th at the earliest will be the end date for Season 16. Interesting to note is that in the patch notes for Season 16, we're seeing some changes to balance based on the PTR. In other words, the last buffs that we saw in PTR are not what went through. There were some nerfs to Inna and Talrasha specifically. And I encourage you to check out my Season 16 tier list video covering 50 builds and ranking them in order of power. Now, this is all very preliminary. I'm expecting to see some surprises as we move into Season 16. But if you're looking to see, say, what are the top 10 builds for Season 16, I encourage you to check out my video. And if you want further elaboration on the additional patch notes for Season 16, for instance, primal items now get a red beam, I encourage you to check out this video over here, because that otherwise will be wrapping up this week's news video. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch and Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider becoming a Royal Raider on Patreon, where your support is immensely appreciated. We've got a variety of backer rewards, including behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more gaming content.